Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Today, let me tell you about 6 things that can be faked in order to get into your accounts or your computer. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 900 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. Now everybody's concerned about security when it comes to your computer and your online accounts. But a lot of people ignore the most vulnerable thing, which is you. You being tricked into giving away information so that people can get into your computer or accounts. They usually do this by faking something. So here are 6 things that can be faked in order to trick you into giving up your information. The first one is email. Email can be easily faked. The address that you see in the from field in an email can totally be faked. Just because it says it's from somebody or from a company doesn't mean anything. An email can be sent from any source and have a different source in from. It's the same as if you got a physical piece of mail and somebody wrote a different return address in the upper left hand corner or on the other side of the envelope. They could write anything they want there. And it's the same with email. You could have anything in that from field and it doesn't mean that that email is from that location. So an email may look like it's from your bank or from a shopping site or social media site, and it could be from anybody. Now this is called a phishing attack. And the main point of this kind of attack is to trick you into thinking you've gotten an official email from someplace, but the email actually contains a link to a completely different place, a malicious server that is going to try to steal your information. So the email may look completely legitimate. All of the text and graphics may look identical to emails you usually get from this source. But a link in there is going to lead to a different location. You may actually have a bunch of links in there and all of them except one may lead to the legitimate website for that service. But you click that one wrong link and now you go to another website that looks like a legitimate website and you enter your ID, your password, and now they have that information. And never trust your eyes to confirm that a link is correct. They can be really tricky, replacing just one letter and making it so that at a glance or even after a long look it looks like the real URL to that website. They can even put a period right at a certain spot where it blends in with another letter and you think you're going to the actual website, you're going somewhere else, and you're giving somebody else your password. And often they try to make the email as stressful as possible. For instance, it may be an email from your bank saying your account is overdrawn. Or it may be from a shopping website saying your account's been closed or some large item has been ordered and is on its way. They try to stress you out so you forget about security, click on a link in there to take care of the problem, and before you know it you've given your password to some malicious site. So how do you protect against this? Well, first, don't trust links in emails. Instead, go to a bookmark you have for the actual site for that actual service or type the URL in manually if it's simple enough. Don't click on the link in the email. Also, password managers help because a password manager matches a domain name with an ID and a password. And if the link is fake, well, the password manager is not going to find a match for it in its database. So it's not going to have an ID or a password for that, which is going to tip you off that it was actually a fake email and a fake link. Now next we have phone calls. And I hope you know that caller ID can totally be faked. Both the phone number and the name that comes up. So something may seem to come from a company you do business with, but it's not necessarily the case. So if somebody calls you, immediately be suspicious and don't give them any information. And keep in mind they may try to convince you that they are the real company by giving you information, but a lot of your information is publicly available. Just because they know your address or some information about your account doesn't mean it's the legitimate company calling you. And don't trust any number they give you to call back or any website they tell you to go to. Instead, go and look up the phone number for that company. You probably have it on a bill, or if you log into your account you can see a phone number and you can call their customer service department. Do that instead of talking to whoever called you on the phone. Matter of fact, it's best to let those calls go to voicemail. Listen to the voicemail, ignore the number that they give and the number on caller ID, and call the customer support number. Now a common use for this is for someone to call you and tell you there's a problem with your computer to make you panic, that you give them access to your computer and now they can do all sorts of things. Apple will never call you to tell you there's a problem on your Mac. They don't know. They're not monitoring you. Your internet service provider will never call you either. Nobody will call you and tell you there's a problem and try to help you fix it. all of those calls will be fake. And if someone is calling and asking for money, even if it's from a company that you know, hang up on them. It's almost always a scam. And just go to the website or call the customer support number that you have for that company and talk to them that way. Now also, of course, text messages can be faked just as easily as phone numbers. The number calling you can be faked. The caller ID can be faked. Don't trust anything that you get in a text message from somebody you don't know, or it's asking you to log on to a website or telling you there's a problem. Call the official support phone number for whatever company it is, or go to their website and look at your messages on there. Never click a link that you get in a text message from a company. And the same is true for social media messages too. This is rarer, but it is possible to get fake messages like that on systems like WhatsApp, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, all of that. There are ways to get in there and trick you into thinking a text message is real. Now another thing that could be faked that fewer people know about are websites. A website can be fake. You can go to the right URL, look at that website, but you're not looking at that website. Now this would happen if you're on some Wi-Fi that's been compromised. So not your home Wi-Fi, probably not work or school either, but maybe using Wi-Fi in a coffee shop or other location. They can change what's on the router so that when you go to a website, you're not actually going to the real one. You're being redirected to a malicious server somewhere else. And it looks just like the regular website. It asks you to log on. You enter your password and ID, and now you've given them your password to that site. And password managers won't protect you against this because they can't possibly know that you're at the wrong site. It looks to you and to them like you're at the right site. So how do you protect against that? Well, first, it's rare, so you don't have to worry about it too much. But basically, don't try to log on to any site or click on a link in an email to anything important if you're on Wi-Fi you don't trust. So if you happen to be out, say at a coffee shop, and you get an important email and you need to log on to your bank or something like that, don't do it there. Wait till you go home. Or maybe switch to your own mobile provider for internet access. Use your iPhone's hotspot instead of the local Wi-Fi to make sure that doesn't happen. Also, of course, using two-factor authentication will protect you from this. It won't protect you at that moment. You'll still be able to log on to the fake website or not log on as the case may be. But if somebody takes your password and tries to use it later on, they won't be able to get on because they don't have the second factor, the code you'd be getting on your phone. Here's another one that most people don't think about. Social media accounts can be faked. So what happens here usually is somebody sees a public social media account like a Facebook account. There's the picture, there's the name. They go and they create a new Facebook account with the same picture, the same name, and then they see who the real account has as friends, and then they friend request all of those people. So you get a friend request from somebody you actually know and you accept it. The email is legitimate. It's actually coming from the real social media service, but it's not the real person. It's a fake person. And for months you may not hear again from that account, or they may post some innocuous things and it doesn't really ring any alarm bells. But then all of a sudden that account asks you for help, asks you for money, asks you to go to a website, all sorts of things. One way to protect yourself is to check with that person to make sure they really have set up a new social media account. Maybe check to see if you already are friends with them. That's a sure signal that this new account is a fake account. And you can make sure your name and photo aren't used in this kind of scam by making your social media accounts private. So somebody who's not your friend can't see information about you, and in particular can't see who your friends are. So this can't be used to actually then ask people to be the friend of this new fake account. Now, in addition to websites being fake, you can also have fake alerts show up on real websites. So you probably have seen this. You go to a website and you see on there that your Mac may have a virus. Click here to diagnose or something like that. These are just fake alerts. A website cannot possibly know that your machine has any problems at all. It doesn't have access to it. It only is displaying information for you to see. These are quite often just advertisements for downloading some sort of antivirus software or something like that. But in the worst case scenario, they're really malicious. In some cases, they're not ads, but the website itself has been compromised. Whoever owns the website doesn't notice it because maybe if they log on, they don't see it. But then when someone like you goes to the website, you get shown this alert that isn't supposed to be there. and you think, oh, something's wrong with my computer. I need to click on this link and do something like that. If you're ever shown any information on a website that you may have malware or a virus or anything like that, it's fake. It can't know. It can't possibly know. Just ignore it and maybe consider going to a different website if that seems to be persistent on that one. Because there's obviously a problem with that website. It's got nothing to do with you. And just seeing these doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with your Mac at all. There's nothing you need to do except ignore it and maybe stop going to that site. So there are 6 things that could easily be faked to trick you into giving up account information or computer access to somebody else. Now, one final thing that covers all 6 of these is a lot of websites give bad advice in that you should look at spelling and language in all of these to determine if something's fake. If words are misspelled or grammar is really bad inside of the message, then that's a sign that this is a scam and not real. But that's really bad advice because it can just as easily be perfect. It can use perfect grammar, perfect spelling. And if you trust it because the spelling and grammar are perfect, then that could lead to trouble. It's very easy for them to get it all right or even just copy a real message from the real service and now it looks perfect. So don't follow that advice. Don't look for spelling and grammar mistakes. Just always be suspicious of whatever email, phone call, text message, or any communication that you get that it may not be real, that it may not come from who it says it comes from, and that it may be trying to steal your login information or get access to your computer. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.